I mean, look, I totally agree with what you said earlier. I think it's flipping cool that, this statistic is as high as it is, that more women are entering the property space as owners. What I've found super interesting and what formed the basis of my article was, why and how we got to this boost. And obviously, we're in an era where women, more than ever before in history, can work. There's more work opportunities. They can vote. There's just more rights, generally speaking. And so now in the property space, specifically to South Africa, you've got to ask, why is the surge so high? And I just am of the opinion that, they're hedging their bets against a number of things. I don't think women are getting married as soon. I don't think they're having kids as young. So entering the property space and even our, policy and government and unstable employment, women want security. And I think they're doing that by entering the real estate space as owners.
Okay, so women are the biggest demographic in the country. So that should naturally be the kind of space that they occupy. But you're talking about a surge here. Give us the numbers.
It's about 52 to 53%. I mean, that's what all the data from, Phoenix Bonds is putting out. Lightstone, all the kind of bond originators and the banks who are doing the loan applications, they've pretty much got the same numbers. But very interesting is that it's single women. So it's outpacing couples.
I think that's a very important observation that you are making.
Yeah, so I mean, as a woman in South Africa, I think something that forms the foundation of all my decisions in life is security. I want security in basically everything I do because, kind of grow up very vigilant and very resilient. So whether it's the friends I hang out with, the places I visit, the places I travel to locally, the places I work, I want to feel safe. And I think the same goes when you're dealing in real estate. Women want to feel safe. They want to, feel safe with an income. Maybe they want to build a small property portfolio, feel safe knowing they have, shelter, a place to live if things go bad. Well, if they're single and they don't have anyone to depend on, but also just safety in coming home after a working day and being able to, go to sleep with sound mind. I think I would say a lot of women would put that high up on their core values.
You called it security. I think I called it independence. But we're talking about a psychological peace of mind, I guess, that women are getting through the ownership of property. Could that change the way women participate in the rest of the economy as a consequence?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it could change everything. I think, if I look at even just buildings being built, a lot of them were built 50 years ago, your CBDs and stuff like that. During that time, obviously, the majority of architects were men. So I often talk about how these buildings were designed by men with very few female inputs, obviously, because there weren't many female architects. But you take the toilet bathroom situation. Why are there always very, very long queues for the girls and the men's toilets never have queues?
Please answer that question.
And that for me...
I'm like that. Please come use mine. Please, I can't deal with you.
Exactly. But literally out of frustration, standing in that queue, I mean, I've spent hours in female bathroom queues. I thought of this exact thing. And I could only really come down to the fact that these buildings that we all know were designed predominantly by men. So they wouldn't think the ratio to be different. The ratio should be different. We should have more toilets in the female, less in the male. And that can only be done because it was designed by men. Nothing against men, but we have more female architects today. So we can maybe see the influence of women throughout real estate, not just from the purchasing side, but in the design side. And I think it all, having that feminine touch certainly makes a difference on perspective. And that's what I love about X. If you follow me at Ask Ash, when I post my articles like this, you get a number of comments that come through. And that's, the general public. Anyone from the CEO of a listed company to someone who lives in a small suburb in the platteland can literally comment on that thing. And it's such an interesting mix of reviews that happened with this article. The amount of women who said, this article is correct. I bought my first property. I bought my second. I just applied. They were going, it was just reams of women coming in, basically confirming the qualifiable kind of insights that I put forward and said, this is exactly why I did it. I wanted security. And a lot of them also said that they begged their husbands to buy property in their name, and the husbands were against it, so they went and did it on their own anyway. So that's also an interesting thing I haven't really explored yet, is why the partners were not interested in securing property, but they felt the need that they really wanted to do this.